Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm reception to our studios here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Sarah Kamara. In the headlines tonight, President Barrow lays 30 kilometers road foundation stone in Sierra. Health authorities organize antimicrobial symposium. Inside NIA confession room, accused soon hammers, broken teeth and guns to admit to crimes. Rafaela, the Gambian National Chapter, embarks on an annual general meeting. On the international scene, at least 80 migrants killed in boat explosion. In Zimbabwe, thousands struggle without citizenship rights. France considers ban on broadcasting of officers' faces. Those were the headlines, and now the news in details. President Barrow on Monday laid the foundation stone for the third phase of the Rural Roads project for the construction of a 30 kilometers road at Kirjibi. These roads will connect different villages in Upper Salum, Nyanija, Nyani, and Same in the Central River region. MARIAMA reports.
President Barrow arrived at Kirjibi on Monday with his powerful delegation, including ministers, National Assembly members and high government officials, as they were welcomed by an overwhelming crowd, including natives of CRR, chiefs, alcalos and praise singers, as the event marked a historic moment for the people of these communities. The 30-kilometer roads is under the Rural Roads project, and the roads will connect several villages including Kirjibi to Chamen, Nyanija, Buduk and Nyani Bantang in CRR. The roads have been neglected over the years, thus resulting in major transportation difficulties for the residents. It also affected the economic activities of these various communities. President Barrow has, however, stepped in to fulfill his promise to the people of Upper Salum and its surrounding communities in turning their long-awaited dream into a reality, as he laid the foundation stone at Kirjibi to transform the bad roads into smooth ones. Hamad Nkeba, Minister of Tourism and Culture, says the foundation stone was just the beginning, as more development projects are on the way for the people of Upper Salum. Ba, however, took the opportunity to call on the people of Upper Salum to be united and rally behind President Barrow, because with unity they will achieve their wishes. While speaking at the event, President Barrow says the laying of the foundation stone was part of fulfilling the promise he made to the people during his campaign, and it is his responsibility to bring development to the people as the president of the country. He added that constructing good roads is part of his government's top priorities and key development plans. Several speakers, including chiefs and National Assembly members, thanked the president and his government for keeping the promise he made to the people of the various communities in CRR. They noted that keeping his promises will positively impact their lives, as it will connect different villages, thus easing the transportation challenges they have been facing in the past years. The excited people of Upper Salum have promised to rally behind President Barrow 100% throughout his tenure in office, as well as in the upcoming presidential election. Once the roads are completed as planned, there will be easy access to these communities, and it will boost economic activities as well as create other development opportunities in these areas. MARIAMA reporting for Star TV News.
The 18th and 24th of November are commemorated as World Antimicrobial Resistance Awareness Week. However, the Ministry of Health and its stakeholders organized a day-long symposium at the Senegambia Beach Hotel in Kololi meant to raise awareness on antimicrobial. The theme for this year's commutation is Unite to Preserve Antimicrobials. Modi Albaji has more on this story.
Antimicrobial resistance occurs when microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites change in ways that render the medications used to cure infections they cause ineffective. The WHO representative, Dr. Detera A. Truna, indicated that as resistance grows to a wide range of drugs, WHO, together with its partners such as the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO and the World Organization for Animal Health, has broadened this year's campaign focus from antibiotics to all antimicrobials.
As a result, WHO has declared AMR the 10 top global public health threats facing humanity, as you know. And in the international health regulations, which is focusing on public health threats of international concern, AMR is one of them. So it shows you the magnitude of the problem. This resistance is made worse, even the problem is made worse by misuse of antibiotics or antimicrobials in humans and in farms. And besides, the lack of access to clean water and sanitation also is playing a role, because if you don't keep yourself clean, with the hands are not clean, you get infected, and then you transmit also the diseases from one to the other. So it facilitates. This is also another factor that's really contributing a lot to the emergence and spread of drug resistant infections. Therefore, improving water and sanitation and hygiene is fundamentally critical in preventing diseases and ensuring contaminated waste containing resistant microbes does not enter human or animal food systems. Once it's in the system, then it can be really circulating around and difficult to manage. Another significant concern is the misuse of antibiotics during the viral infections like COVID-19. Many people tried all sorts of medicines. This is also dangerous because COVID-19 is caused by a virus, but we are using antibiotics to treat anything that we suspect, so that's not good. It will actually increase the exposure of the medicines to resistance.
The WHO representative also to support the Gambia health system and its VERDE One Health platform to build a robust national AMR surveillance system in the country. However, presentations was done to illustrate the frequency of the usage of drug in the treatment of human beings. Dr. Safi Dabo, a microbiologist at the MRC, and Hadiba of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, both made presentations on various topics, which includes sexual transmission infections. Fatoumata Samate of the National Pharmaceutical Authorities extend words of gratitude to the stakeholders for making the day a success.
The WHO for their resolute technical support as well as for their sponsoring this program here today. We would like to offer sincere thanks also to the presenters who delivered presentations, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, were both engaging and intriguing, and judging by the questions, I can see it aroused a lot of interest, so we're really pleased with that, so thank you to our presenters too.
This symposium is meant to create awareness about the usage of drugs and the dangers associated with it. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
Major Wasa Kamara was part of a group of soldiers who were arrested following the March 21, 2006 abortive coup intending to dislodge the Iron Fist ruler Yahya Jammeh. They soon be paraded on the national television GRTS, confessing to their crimes and pleaded with their commander-in-chief to forgive and relieve them. Our SANNEH has more.
Wasa told the Truth-Seeking Commission TRRC on Tuesday that they were severely physically and emotionally tortured to make those television confessions. According to him, by those confessions and pleas to the president, they were promised freedom and forgiveness, after which they later realized it was a mere trick. The then Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant Colonel Durcham, led the coup, Several others, including former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Daba Marina, Captain Bunja Dabo, Captain Yaya Dabo, Warrant Officer 2, Alfaba, Malafikor, Aliuba, etc., were all victimized throughout their 90 days in Comunicado detention at Mile 2. Wassa and his colleagues were regularly taken to the NIA headquarters in Banjul, where they were confronted by the special panel of investigators who were placed to extract the head-court evidence from them in connection to the coup, regardless to how the process should be done. Wassa recalled that the first night he was picked from Mile 2 to the NIA. Prior to NIA visit, he said taken from his detention cell by one Omar Koli, alias Jagaid, before being taken into a waiting vehicle, with his hands tied from the back and his face was covered with a sack. Among the panelists, he named one Hydra as the then head of the NIA, Demba Sow, a police representative, Langtomban Tamba, former CDS, and the then Inspector General of the Police and later Minister of Interior Usman Sonko. He also named some of the junglers who took part in the process, such as Fode Bari, Musa Jambe alias Malia Mungu, and Tumbul Tamba. While questioning continued, he told the TRRC that Baba Sao was sitting far end of the table, came behind him and slapped his face, leading to his difficulties in viewing after. He denied that he was the ringleader. According to him, he also came to know that the name of the person who hit him as Baba Sao when someone called his name out as he attempted to beat him again. Wassa said he was detained in Comunicado for 90 days with no access to family and lawyers, as they were told that it was a decree that empowers the NIA to keep people for 90 days in Comunicado. He said that Malik Jata and one Amadou Baji came after him again, and this time they hit his head repeatedly on the wall while his hands were tied from back. After that, they took him away to torture him mercilessly. According to him, the junglers were covered by plastic that have metals on both ends. They were used to beat. This is what they were using, and I was beaten seriously, up to an extent that I could no longer shout. There's laceration all over my body. Wassa narrated that while beatings were being done, some photos and videos were taken that were sent to the president as a way of showing heroism to the president apart from the top security officer that formed the panel. He said the junglers present at the scene was to ensure that they inflict psychological and physical torture against the accused person just to extract confessions. But he confirmed that the senior security officer, including the 10th Army Chief, Langtomban Tamba, were aware of him being tortured when he passed him while his face was swollen and the blood was all over his body and his clothes. The commission played a recorded video to witness camera during his testimony in which he have committed treason, asked for forgiveness from Jambe, but the army officer said they were forced and have their statement repeatedly written reluctantly. The video was later part of the evidence used against them in court, which saw them convicted for several years in jail, while Wassa and others were tried and jailed for life prison terms. Others like Daba Marina, Alfaba, Second Lieutenant Ibulo, Malafikor, etc. were summarily executed. It was initially reported by the state that they escaped while the vehicle that was transporting them to Janjambure prison somersaulted. Wassa described the story as fantasy. Fortunately for Wassa, he was part of the presidential pardon that saw him only a little more than 9 years in jail. Wassa regretted his action to engage in flouting the constitution by being part of the coup and admitted that the military virtue of the constitution should be under the civilian administration. He also announced that he was forgiven and all the people who subjected him to torture, including jungler Malik Jata, Amadou Baji, and Omar Kori, who he said went further to torment his family while he was in jail. For Star TV News, SANNEH.
The network of locally elected women in Africa, the Gambian National Chapter, under the auspices of the mayors of Banjul, embark on an annual general meeting nationwide tour to formulate the executive that will steer the affairs of the network in the next 3 years. Our reporter Yamuda Koka was there, and this is her report.
REFELA, the Gambia National Chapter, is a women's platform that seeks to empower women and youth through advocacy. The project was launched in the Gambia in 2019 and it is funded by the United Nations Development Programme. Rohi Malik Low is the president of REFELA and she embarked on a meeting at Kutu Kwarel Garage to formulate the executive that will steer the affairs of the network in the next 3 years. The event was graced by some prominent individuals within other political parties, which include the APRC, GDC, UDP, the former Speaker of the National Assembly Fatoumata Jahumpa, and the Malaysian Ambassador Ramzia Jab Ghanim. The mayoress enlightened the youth not to be lazy and zero tolerance to children in the streets. She urges the women to be engaged in politics and be very hardworking. Speaking at the gathering, Fatoumata Jahumpa, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, added that the members of the Project REFELA comprise different political parties and it is not here for politics. She further gave the mayoress, Rohi Malik Low, a check for $10,000 to REFELA on behalf of the Family Right Advancement Protection. Aissatou Njai, a member of REFELA and a youth of Kotu, also spoke on behalf of the youth. She said that they would go to all the regions in the Gambia to sensitize the women. Ramzia Jab Ghanim concluded by narrating to the public the things she went through in life. She encourages women to come together and take part in politics as they are the kingmakers. And she wants the next president of the Gambia to be a woman. For Star TV News, I am Yamuda Okuka.
Those were the local stories. We'll be back with the international news after the break.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gosh Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gosh Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gosh on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gosh Global Group on Bertel Harding Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.goshglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh.
And now news beyond our borders. At least 80 migrants have been killed and dozens injured when the engine of a boat exploded in the North Atlantic Sea. It happened near Cape Verde of the west coast of Africa. About 150 people were thought to be on board, mainly from Senegal and Gambia. It was said to be making its way from Cape Verde to Spain. More on this report by Al Jazeera.
At least 80 migrants have been killed and dozens injured when the engine of a boat exploded in the North Atlantic Sea. It happened near Cape Verde off the western coast of Africa. All up, about 150 thought to be on board, mainly from Senegal and Gambia. The boat apparently making its way from Cape Verde to Spain. Here's Nicholas Hark. He's following the story from Dakar in Senegal. What more details do you have, Nicholas?
Well, the Cape Verdean Coast Guards heard about this explosion from fishermen that were nearby early this morning. When they rushed and sailed to the scene, they saw women, children, men holding on to plastic barrels normally used to store food or fish that are on the vessel. Now, the explosion happened early in the morning. It's unclear why it happened. The Coast Guards were able to rescue some of the 140 passengers that were on board, but there are 80 that are missing. Some are in hospital in the island of Sal where the explosion took place. It seems that this fishing vessel that's normally used to store fish but not humans went off course towards the islands of Cape Verde. It was on its way to the Canary Islands. This year alone, 17,000 migrants, mostly from West Africa, have landed on the islands of the Canary Islands. And the mayor of the town of Puerto Arguinquin, where the migrants are being held, say that the conditions in which they're staying in is dismal. He says some of the migrants haven't showered in 3 and 4 days. There's cases of coronavirus amongst the migrants that are infected. This port town that's usually home to tourists, well, now the hotels are being filled in by migrants. Such is the level of arrivals, with the aid agencies warning that we're seeing another refugee crisis here on the Atlantic coast. Kamal?
Thank you for the update, Nicholas Haak in Dakar, Senegal.
The United Nations says millions of people around the world are considered stateless. They do not have birth certificate or identity document, denying them the benefits of citizenship where they live. It is estimated that thousands of people in Zimbabwe have no official record to show who they are or where they and when they were born. Most are descendants of migrant workers. Others are orphans who lost parents and guardians during the massacres when thousands were killed in Matabeleland and Midland provinces. There are those living in the east of the country who fled the civil war in Mozambique in the 1990s. Al Jazeera's Haru Mutesa went to meet those affected in the Manicaland province, Zimbabwe.
Precious Makoni never knew her parents. The woman who raised her wasn't a relative, so she couldn't legally register her as a Zimbabwean citizen. That means she has no birth certificate or national ID. On paper, Precious does not exist. Here, if the mother doesn't have a birth certificate, her children can't prove who they are and therefore can't register as citizens.
My son can't go to school. I can't get a job. People want my ID for their records, so that if something goes missing, the police will be able to find me.
It's estimated thousands of people in Zimbabwe have no official records to show who they are or where and when they were born. Most are descendants of migrant workers. Others are orphans who lost parents and guardians during the Gukurahundi massacres when thousands were killed during the civil war in the early 1980s in Matabeleland and Midlands provinces. Then there are those living in the east of the country. People without documents in this area came from Mozambique, behind those mountains over there. Some fled the civil war in the 1990s, hunger and poverty. Even decades later, many say going back is not an option. Grace Mapiri says even if she could return, she wouldn't remember how to get back. She crossed the border without identity documents. For her, Zimbabwe is now her home. She says she just wants an ID so she can have some dignity.
When food is given out, I don't get anything. I can't even get free government health care. They want to see my ID.
Zimbabwe's government says it's working with the United Nations to find out how many people need documents and how to assist them. The exact number of stateless people globally is not known.
However, what we know, and these statistics come from the World Bank, there are millions and millions of people throughout Southern Africa who do not have any documents proving their identity and nationality.
Lois Mnandi's birth certificate was destroyed in a fire when she was a teenager. She says she never got a replacement. So when her children were born, she couldn't register them. Now adults, they don't have documents. And soon it will be the same for the next generation of the family. Harumutasa, Al Jazeera, Manicaland Province, Zimbabwe.
The French Parliament is debating proposed legislation that would ban images of police officers' faces from being spread online or broadcast on television. Supporters say it will help protect police, but critics say it was an attack on free speech. Al Jazeera's Natasha Butler reports from Paris, France.
French documentary The Monopoly of Violence exposes and examines police brutality in France, focusing on recent yellow vest protests, but also taking in the suburbs. A harrowing watch, it uses footage shot by journalists or members of the public. Showing clips like this, though, may not be possible in the future. The French government has proposed a new security law, part of which would crack down on the broadcast or sharing of images of police officers. Filmmaker David Dufresne says the bill destroys basic freedoms.
The lawmakers want to stop the free circulation of information and knowledge because in the last few years France has discovered police violence. It's something that in reality has existed for a very long time in the suburbs, but was not documented in this way.
Video's been used in several high-profile cases of alleged police violence in the country. The death of delivery man Cédric Chouviat during a police check in Paris in January was filmed by a passerby, footage that led to an inquiry. Under the new law, a person could be jailed for up to a year and fined more than $50,000 for broadcasting or sharing identifiable images of a police officer with the intention of harming them. Campaigners fear that if journalists and citizens are dissuaded from filming the police, it will make it harder for officers to be held accountable for their actions, and some might act with impunity. But the government says the law is necessary to protect police officers.
It's not about stopping journalists from working. The law doesn't impact the right to inform for journalists or citizens, but it prevents police officers from having their identities put online with calls to violence or to be subject to reprisals that can have grave consequences.
Protecting the police from violence while on duty is essential, says this police union spokesperson, but he says the new law is not the answer.
If the government were clearer on the role of the police, what they can and cannot do, then this clause would not be necessary.
Unrest at demonstrations and recent attacks have prompted the government to take a tougher line on security, but instead of working on building more trust between police officers and the public, some say the new law threatens to erode it. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Paris.
And before the end of the news, a recap of our main headlines. President Barrow lays 30 kilometers road foundation stone in Sierra. Health authorities organize antimicrobial symposium. Inside NIA confession room, accused shown hammers, broken teeth and guns to admit to crimes. Raffaella, the Gambian national chapter, embarks on an annual general meeting. On the international scene, at least 80 migrants killed in boat explosion. In Zimbabwe, thousands struggle without citizenship rights. France considers ban on broadcasting of officers' faces. That's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Thank you.